Let's lock in. Does Tank have a rematch clause against Lamont Roach because he's scared? Now, we've seen this in the sport. People have rematch clauses, and then the fighter who they're about to face feels gains confidence from it, feels emboldened by it. They feel like, okay, you want a rematch clause because you worried about what I'm bringing to the table. Let's listen to what Lamont Roach had to say about his upcoming fight with Tank.
There's a rematch clause, people. So get ready for 2 fights. But yes, and after I beat him the second time, I probably would ask the WBA to let me go up to 140 and fight Ryo. There's a rematch clause, people.
So you hear the way that he's saying there's a rematch clause. Like again, like here's a rematch clause because he knows like how nice I am. You know what I'm saying? Blah blah blah. Nah, not necessarily. At the level that Tank is at, they asked for a rematch clause because they worked so hard to obtain the status that they've gained. And one punch can change a fight, and anything can happen in a boxing match. We already know that. So if Tank does slip and fall, he wants to get another shot at regaining everything he helped build. Now, let's not forget that Gervonta Tank Davis is the one who has been fighting on pay-per-view, who's built up a following to the point where he could do 1.2 million buys with Ryan Garcia. He's the one who's put on exciting performances. He's the one who sells out the stadium. He is the A side. So now he's giving Lamont Roach a chance. And Lamont Roach can beat Tank. And if he beats Tank, then Lamont Roach is automatically going to catapult himself into superstardom. He's automatically going to be seen as a guy who's nice, and he's automatically going to inherit all the people who hate Tank as his fan because he was the one who knocked out Tank. So Tank is giving him the opportunity to, one, make the highest payday of his career, and two, gain numerous fans. Even if he loses, look at Eastside Pitbull Cruz, for example. Look at Frank Martin, who took the L. Look at Edgar Berlanga, who lost like every round to Canelo and still gained a whole bunch of fans just from the way he performed. So win, lose, or draw, it's a win for Lamont Roach, depending on how he performs. But for Gervonta Tank Davis, someone who's earned superstar status, someone who's one of the faces of boxing, every fight he has is a risk, and he's going to get every fighter's best shot, and he's aware of that. So does the fact that he have a rematch clause mean that he's scared of Lamont Roach? Absolutely not. He had a rematch clause against Frank Martin. And you know, people have rematch clauses. You see Canelo would have a rematch clause sometimes against certain fighters as well. Go in there and win. Floyd had rematch clauses in his contract, but he never lost. So again, the reason why you add a rematch clause is because anything can happen in the sport of boxing. This isn't like you know, football, basketball, or any other sport where if you gain a lead, it's practically insurmountable. Like at a certain point, you know it's highly unlikely that this person can win. Up until the final bell, all it takes is one punch, and you always have a chance to win. So boxing is the one sport where there's always a chance to get the game winning Hail Mary. It's always a chance, and we've seen it happen in the sport of boxing. So you'd be a fool to think that it's not possible that anything can happen. And where some people see this as a fighter being scared, I like this. I see this as a sign of a fighter understanding that you can't take anyone lightly, understanding that they're fighting someone who's a threat, and recognizing that I'm taking on this challenge, and if I win, great. I deserve all the props or whatever. But in the event it doesn't go my way, I just want a chance to right that wrong because I've earned it based on all the things I've done to this point. I'm okay with those types of rematch clauses. We'll take Anthony Joshua, for example. I always felt like his rematch clauses were fine because he's the one who collected the belts. He's the one who beat Klitschko, beat Joseph Parker, beat all these guys, beat Dillian White. He's the one who brought all the belts together, beat Charles Martin. He brought all the belts together. So when he took a L, I felt like he deserved a rematch based on the fact that he's the one who worked hard to bring all the belts together, And then someone like Andy Ruiz just had to beat him to become unified. Usyk just had to beat him to become unified and get 3 belts. So to me, it's not right that you could inherit all of that off of one fight and not give the man a chance to get his get back. So I always felt like those were fair. Now, this rematch clause with Daniel Dubois may not happen. I don't understand how he got that rematch clause in there, because at that point, I think it's just the name in the power and the position in the sport. But to me, at that point, that was an unnecessary rematch clause. Although I'm sure Daniel Dubois and Uncle Frank were like, hey, it's still going to be a big fight. If you spark them out, we do it again. You spark them out again. Hey, it's like two for one special. So let's do it anyway, right? But Anthony Joshua's dangerous in rematches. He performs better in every rematch, even the one that he lost. But still, no guarantee that he'd beat Dean Dubois in a rematch. But even someone like Anthony Joshua, due to his status in the heavyweight division and what he's done in the sport, I'm not upset with him getting a rematch clause against Dean Dubois. I just don't think it was necessary. But for someone like Gervonta Tank Davis and Anthony Joshua, prior to losing to Usyk the second fight in the rematch, I feel like when you earn that status, you deserve a right to get a rematch clause. Like Canelo moving forward in his fights or whatever, against, say, if he ever fights Benavidez, Benavidez has David Morrell coming up. If Benavidez turns in an excellent performance, or David Morrell for that, right? If Morrell turns in a miraculous performance and one of them calls out Canelo, let's say he gives them the fight, but he puts a rematch clause in that fight. I'm not going to say Canelo's scared. That's ridiculous. He's done it before. He's put rematch clauses in his fight before, and he's going out and won. But I think it's him saying, you're not just going to inherit everything from me and not give me a chance to win it back. Because in the end, he would be going in there as the one who did all the heavy lifting to bring the fans in. And so to me, it's not wrong when you're a legitimate A side and you want a rematch clause. But you get the job done right the first time, you don't have to worry about it. That's what they used to ask Floyd all the time about his rematch clauses. And he said, you get the job done right, you don't have to worry about a rematch. Right. And even when Floyd won, sometimes he gave the fighters rematches. You think of Luis Castillo and you think of Marcos Maidana. He won. Some people will try to say it's controversial. So Floyd said, all right, let's run it back. So no, it doesn't mean you're scared. Sometimes it just means you're smart and you're aware of what you've established and what you've accomplished. And you don't want to be that fighter who loses and not have a rematch clause. Like I think Tim Tszyu has been that guy. I'm trying to think of some other guys where it's like you walked in, you underestimated your opponent, you thought it was going to be an easy fight, you lose, and now Subriel Matias against Liam Perot comes to mind. If I was with Subriel, I would have asked for a rematch clause because I know how dangerous Liam Perot is. I know how good Liam Perot is. Liam Perot is one of those guys who's like around gym circles. They're like, yeah, I don't want to see him under the lights, right? Subriel Matias should have had a rematch clause before he fought Liam Perot, and he didn't. And that's the thing. So now he has to fight his way back. He was one fight away from becoming a superstar, and now he has to fight his way back to even getting a title shot. So that's the thing. If you work hard to establish yourself in a position in boxing, I'm okay with you having a rematch clause. I don't think it means you think you're going to lose. So when he brings up the rematch clause, he could have said no to it in negotiations, but he probably wouldn't have got the fight. So, okay, you're going to beat Tank twice and you're going to do all that. Good. Love to see it. You're either going to be a prophet or a meme. Let me know what you think in the comment section. Is Lamont Roach a prophet or is he going to be a meme? Please like, share, subscribe. It's Caden. I'm out. Peace.